On the Appropriations Committee in the House sits Congressman Mike Levin, a Democrat of California. Congressman Levin, I am very sorry to say, last night I referred to as a Republican on this show. That was totally on me. But Congressman Levin, I want to tell you that you have a lot of constituents who watch this show and who are very, very, very prompt in letting people know how wrong they are when they do wrong stuff on television. I am very sorry about that. It was nice to meet thousands of your constituents last night online, and it is really nice to have you here.
Thank you. I have the best constituents in America, Rachel.
Well, as I said, they're very online and they're very prompt, and I owe it to them. Let me ask you about the news today in the House. You're on the Appropriations Committee in the House. House Democrats voted no on this continuing resolution. There was a big lobbying effort to get Senate Democrats to vote no on this as well. The Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, tonight said he's going to vote yes to keep the government funded, essentially with no concessions from the Republicans at all. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I can tell you I'm incredibly disappointed. I think this is the wrong move, and I'm really proud of House Democrats. We stood together. This was a tough circumstance. There is no perfect answer here, but I think it's very clear to me that if Trump and Musk are given 6 more months to run roughshod over our agencies, to have cuts that, maybe are not able to be defended against with the Impoundment Control Act lawsuits maybe being undercut, with this CR maybe validating some of that. I thought that, look, this wasn't that close of a call. And as far as the government shutdown, big chunks of the government are being shut down right now before our eyes. We see it at the VA. We see it at the Social Security Administration. We see it across the board, the Department of Education. And at the end of the day, we have to stand up and we have to fight against all of this. And I'm proud that virtually all of my House Democratic colleagues did that. And I know that at least my 2 senators, Adam Schiff and Alex Padilla, are fighting back. And look, there's still time before the vote tomorrow. I hope that Chuck Schumer hears loud and clear that so many of us think this is the wrong decision.
What are you hearing from your constituents? I know you sent out a survey to your constituents over the last few days asking if they've been directly affected by the massive cuts to the federal workforce and the way that the federal government is essentially being hacked down like a sapling in Washington. What are you hearing back so far in terms of the effects in your district, but also what your constituents want you to do?
It's really sad. I have a huge veteran population in my district, so we know that roughly 1/3 of the federal workers are veterans. And a lot of the people who are getting let go are veterans. And I think it's all about the personal stories, whether it's the veteran that loses their job or no longer can get the health care the way that they're used to, or whether it's the senior who doesn't have access to Social Security the way that they used to, or the children that don't have the nutrition assistance that they need to have enough to eat. The real world toll that this is taking on people, I think, is the most important thing. It's not even about Democrats and Republicans as much as it is the people that we represent. And it's just a tragic, tragic situation. And my hope is that we can continue to tell those stories, Rachel, ultimately the people that are impacted by this.
I want to ask about something you referenced in terms of the court orders that we are seeing. We're now starting to see really, really consequential orders, particularly from federal courts, ordering the reinstatement of fired workers. We had a really big ruling today in a federal court in California, in Northern California. We've just in the last few minutes had word of another really, really important ruling along those same lines from a federal court in Maryland. We're going to have details on that in just a moment. We're just making sure that we're crossing all our T's and dotting all our I's on that. But we're also seeing from the president's top campaign donor, Elon Musk, from a lot of people around the president, we're seeing efforts to undercut the judiciary, efforts to say that individual judges are illegitimate or shouldn't be allowed to rule on certain cases, that judges ought to be fired, they ought to be impeached if they have ruled against Trump, even on procedural matters. I wonder what you think about the balance of what courts are doing to constrain what's happening at the administration level, but also the attacks on the courts that we're seeing in response to that expression of authority.
I'm very concerned, and I'm pleased that the Biden administration was able to get 200 judges in there in their 4 years. But this is one of the reasons that I am so adamantly opposed to the Republican CR, because it could be seen as validating a lot of what Trump and Musk have been doing. It could be seen retroactively as validating a lot of these actions, which I think are clearly in violation of the Impoundment Control Act, along with other federal laws like the Anti-Deficiency Act. And we have to do everything we can to fight back. And the reality, Rachel, is we have an alternative. There is a real alternative, and that is a 1-month clean continuing resolution so that appropriators like me can actually come to the table. There was no effort by Republicans whatsoever to try to get a single Democratic idea incorporated into that bill. There were no meetings to talk about things, for example, like the California wildfire aid that's needed, or for all the community project funding that we need for our districts. It was Republicans controlling the White House, House, and Senate, jamming this through on a party line vote. And I hope that the Senate will have courage tomorrow, because the alternative is 6 more months of this mess.
Yeah, I think that Senator Schumer has set something off tonight in Democratic politics. The reaction to him saying that he's going to vote for that CR, I'm not sure he knew to expect. As you point out, that vote's going to be tomorrow afternoon. There's a lot of time between now and then. We'll see if those Senate Democrats can be shifted. Congressman Mike Levin, Democrat of California, I really appreciate you being here, sir, and being so understanding and forgiving me. Next time I'm in California, I owe you. I'm forgiven.
Thank you.
I owe you a drink at least.
I'll take it. Come moderate our town hall one of these days. We'd love to have you.
I will. I will do. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. We're going to take you up on that.
All right.
Thank you, Rachel.